So in the previous video, I mentioned sort of briefly that there is this sort of like mechanism that goes on in the person who's serious about waking up. I said that there's sort of this doubt toward taking on different practice modalities because it's going to sort of like sacrifice your awakening. I'm speaking from previous experience. I had this very alive in me when I was meditating. I'd done a couple of Vipassana meditation retreats, and I was reading the books, doing the practice, doing 2 hours of daily Vipassana meditation practice before I then transitioned to self-inquiry, more spacious, vast, open awareness, abiding as awareness, meditation practice. And I remember when I would see sort of certain teachers promoting things like shadow work, for example. So shadow work being the process of integrating painful emotions that are sort of commanding and taking center stage of your life frequently by going into the repressed, most painful parts of your psyche to then resolve and integrate that so you can feel more free, and just be yourself, be comfortable in your own skin. I remember seeing those sorts of videos, and I would think that because I'm doing this serious meditation practice, this like ancient timeless tradition of something like Vipassana, I would push those sorts of teachings away and be like, oh, no, those poor people, they don't really get it. They don't really get the truth, like the truth of reality. Like, I know they're delusional, they're fixated, they're worried too much about the content of emotional experience. And that energy, when I remember it, it was sort of this like helplessness, this like fear of, because I was really suffering, man. Like I was really suffering with so much emotional contraction that the thought of there being another path just felt overwhelming and exhausting for me, because it was like, man, I just want to get this over and done with. Like I want to do the most extreme thing, the most intense thing, rigorous thing, noble thing. And if I just keep meditating enough, if I just keep doing the Vipassana practice enough, if I just keep doing self-inquiry enough, something will then break through, and I'm going to prove, I wouldn't use this language, but I would say I would prove those people who are telling me to do emotional work wrong. And so I would watch those videos with this sort of like reserved, held back curiosity of like, look at this guy. Like, look at this emotion work guy. And it was subtle, like I'm not saying I was doing this overtly, but it was sort of like a part of my psyche was sort of reserved and questioning and sort of like a bit of spiritual superiority over the people who were talking about doing emotion work and shadow work integration and stuff like that. So, okay, I want to speak to that part. So if you can feel that, so this is I want to make these more experiential. So if you can actually feel that part in your psyche, I would want you to invite it forward. So actually just set the intention right now, just for this video, and you can always come back to that reservedness later after this video, and always follow your instinct with the spiritual unfoldment. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I'm just here to invite a bit of an investigation for you. So let's bring the intention to just feel, like, where do you feel that in your body, that reserved part that's unsure about doing emotion work, or maybe it's worried. This is a big one for me. It was worried that I was going to veer off the spiritual path too far and buy into some new age delusional way of thinking that would distract me from the deeper truths of reality and ultimately prevent me from waking up. And because I was suffering, I was like, oh shit, I better just stick to what I'm doing. So I'd sort of cling to the technique that I was sort of doing a little bit. So yeah, okay, if that's there for you, maybe something, and it might not be exactly that. So just stay curious, like, what is that for you if it is there? And if it's not there, I think you'll still benefit from this video, but let's bring that into view right now. So let's set the intention right now. Okay, I want to see you. And what that will look like is, rather than it being back here, this view that you're looking out from of like judgment, you're bringing it forward with intention and holding it right here within view. And you're also not pushing it away, like you don't want anything to do with it. And let's sit with this. Feel it fully. Feel the emotion of it. If you haven't done any emotion work before, let's just explore this by inquiring into it. Like, what is it trying to do? What is it worried about? What is it worried will happen if it were to open up to something new? And just be mindful if there's any other doubts that come in that say like, I shouldn't be questioning emotion because if I do that, then I'm somehow reinforcing a sense of self or something, or like I'm creating a problem that doesn't really exist. If you do that, that's fine. Like, trust your instinct. If you really believe that and you really want to keep pursuing the spiritual path in that vein, go ahead. I'll just tell you from my experience, what I found is eventually, when I started to like just slowly, it was like putting my feet into the water of trying something different. Like initially I was like really apprehensive to try something like shadow work because of all these reasons I've been talking about, because I've been there. And then slowly but surely I started dipping my toes in, like, okay, maybe I can just ask these questions and process this emotion. I'll just see what happens. And then as I did that, I started finding the relief that I was actually seeking through these deep meditation practices in the first place. So as you start to pull that view apart by asking honest, authentic questions that are sincere and they're actually coming from the emotion itself rather than what you think or what you heard a spiritual teacher say, like your actual deepest truth of what that emotion would say, you might start to have revelations. And you might start to think like, well, maybe there is a different way. Maybe I could actually discover something here that was unbeknownst to me. So if that happens, that's actually really good news. Because the bottom line is, if that I tell you what, if that does evoke more stress in you, like it makes you worry, makes you like kind of worried that, oh shit, there really is something else I could do, then you feel helplessness. Just again, pull that helplessness into view, just like we did with intention. Just look at it. What are you worried about? What's the worst that could happen if I really allowed myself to look at different modalities? Okay, yeah, I might lose respect from my peers who I've been meditating with for many years. I might get lost in a different path. Or I might say something like, man, you've just been suffering for too long. Like the fact that this is like, you're being suggested something else. Just don't, like, just push it away, right? Now, and again, keep trusting your core, keep trusting your deepest instinct. Don't take, like, if you feel like what I'm saying is bullshit, then do it. Like, just keep doing your thing. I'm not here to convince you or convert you. But I'm just inviting you, if your heart is resonating with that, then follow that down. Just get clear with that, and I just wanted to put that to you today and just maybe provoke something in you. Just continuing down this rabbit hole of what's really going on in this psychospiritual journey of yours and this unfoldment for you. And ultimately, with the goal of leading to deeper peace, deeper freedom that nurtures liberation from suffering, that nurtures insight, that is working toward the complete integration of the human. The recognition of insight, deeper wisdom of who and what we truly are, the embodiment of our emotions, and the integration of the cognitive aspect, the thinking mind, all in a cohesive unity that's engaging with the world. So we don't want to neglect the pursuit of insight, but we want to get real with what's actually going on in this whole seeking, all of the spiritual process that's going on, so that we can unify all of these parts and deepen into the mystery. Okay, so I hope you found this helpful, in some way insightful. Subscribe to my newsletter, by the way, if you want to be updated with things that I'm releasing in the future. I think I'm going to be putting out some more offers soon to help people in this space. I will be. Or there's also one-on-one coaching I'm still offering for this sort of thing. And yeah, just like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want more like this, if this is piquing your curiosity. Much love to you. Bye.